The hockey off season affords me the time to watch movies and TV shows that I don't have time to watch during the NHL's regular season, especially. And so I'm very grateful that the big blockbusters come out during the time of year where I can watch them. And today I saw it. I went to Fantastic Four. If anybody's wondering my wife's opinion, she thought it was okay. Like, there are parts of this movie where if you don't know the history from the comics or from previous cartoons, you might be not necessarily lost, but not 100% knowing who this person is or that villain is and all that. But it's a very good movie. As somebody who's watched... Now, I watched the first Fantastic Four movie way back when. And I don't mean the one that never actually made it to the theaters. The one they made and never released. I'm talking about like the one with Jessica Alba as the Invisible Woman. And then there was Silver Surfer. I really enjoyed the Silver Surfer one too. I actually thought both of those movies were pretty good. Not as good as this one. This one had the feel. When I was a little kid, I remember the Fantastic Four cartoon. And I had Fantastic Four comic books. And not just like... They weren't just available in comic form. They were like those Archie and Jughead... You know, the ones you get at the front of the store. Yeah, they had Fantastic Four ones like that too. Or they were like little booklets. And I love those. And I had Doctor Doom was in it. All the villains were in it. The one book that I had there. And so I've had an interesting last 24 hours. Because last night I watched the Mr. Dress-Up movie. Which I'm going to get my wife and I to talk about. We'll do a video on that because that really moved me. It is rare for something to move me like that did. And I realized too just how much Mr. Dressup has had an influence on what you see here. And if you're not familiar with Mr. Dressup, I don't know what to tell you other than he was a Canadian icon and every little kid was raised by Mr. Dressup. At preschool age for a very, very long time. So, that movie today was kind of like, it was the perfect timing for me to watch that after watching the Mr. Dressup movie. Because my childhood, like I'm talking when I was like 3-4 years old, and in around that range, I remember Fantastic Four being my favorite heroes. It's always kind of ticked me off that they're almost viewed like, not like the Wonder Twins of the Marvel Universe, but not seriously, not taken as seriously as other heroes and villains and whatnot. I think this movie is going to go a long way. I'm hoping it's a financial success. Seriously, Thunderbolts was such a good movie. I'm ticked off that it didn't make money. I think it just shows the fatigue people have. And I think the other issue that sometimes happens with these Marvel movies now is... you're going to get a hit if it's Iron Man. You're going to get a hit if it's Thor. You're going to get a hit if people know the IP. If people know, like Spider-Man, right? Now, not everybody's familiar with Thunderbolts. Not everybody's familiar with the characters from it, and I think that hurt it. So hopefully Fantastic Four, by name recognition, gets people in the door, and then the word of mouth, as I'm trying to do here, spreads so that people go and see the movie. There are some cheesy scenes in there. I don't think they're intended to be cheesy for the most part, other than the footage looking back and sort of catching everybody up on where we're at when the movie starts. But there is like a cheesy part with Reed and Sue's child it's cheesy. And I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. There are two scenes one during the credits, one after the credits. The one after the credits is not necessary. You don't have to stay for that one. The one mid-credits is vital. It is vital. It teases what we're going to see in the Avengers movie. I'm excited about that. I think that putting the Fantastic Four into Avengers is a great idea. And we'll see how all that turns out. I know that there's a chance this movie doesn't necessarily do that well because of the superhero fatigue, especially coming out so soon after Superman. So hopefully people will be like me and throw on their Fantastic Four jersey. I was the only one in the theater that had this. So, at least as far as I could see. I didn't actually, go around to everybody and is it Fantastic Four? You have a Fantastic Four jersey. So, It was fun. I honestly would say that I'm trying not to give any spoilers. It was pretty action-packed. I thought the Silver Surfer was done well. I've seen people upset, oh, the Silver Surfer can't be a woman. Yes, it can. Like, I think what drives me nuts is when I see people in media or people who might have a YouTube channel trying to stir up controversy about a character and, oh, how are they portraying him? When if you follow the comics, you know. It's sort of like how in the Spider-Man one, when I was talking about Green Lantern being different, I know it's not Hal Jordan. I'm well aware it's not Hal Jordan. I know Hal Jordan was the Ryan Reynolds. Like, I don't necessarily explicitly mention these things in videos because I just kind of assume I'm a geek. I know a lot of people watching my videos, probably geeks as well, so we all kind of know. But, this movie, solid, good start for Fantastic Four. I'll be interested to see if they do a sequel, if they're going to have them on our Earth. Of course, the question becomes, after the next Avengers movie, I can spit this out, after the next Avengers movie, which is Doomsday, are we going to see the Fantastic Four staying for the following Avengers movie, or would they go back to their Earth and their time, or will we see the multiverse crumble? Because Loki's in the next Avengers movie, so it's going to get into all the multiverse stuff. So is the multiverse going to crumble? Is it going to combine everything into one universe again? Like, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So, yeah, if you haven't seen it, I would say go to see it. What else would I say? The casting was excellent. Pedro Pascal is just, he is so very good at playing a believable, humble, decent character. And I do think there's a lack of range on some level with the way that he delivers some of his lines, but there's no lack of emotion there either. Usually when an actor lacks range, they're not able to really put across every emotion. Maybe they can't play a serious role, right? But in his case, he absolutely can. I thought Sue Storm was fantastic as well. Johnny Storm was very good. And Ben. Ben has always been a sticking point for me. I was a big fan of Ben when I was a kid. And I remember The Thing and all the stuff about The Thing. And honestly, having read the comics and knowing the character, I knew him as Ben. Personally, I thought of him as Ben. So when I saw The Thing, it was different. But I was like, why are there two different guys? No, it's the same character there, little kid. But Ben was played right. He wasn't seen as being like an outcast in society. He was just a normal guy, and who just happens to be the Thing, right? They didn't go comically overboard about how heavy he was or how strong he was. He's just Ben. Natasha Lyonne was in this movie as well. I did not know she was in this movie. I was overjoyed to see her. I am always a fan of Natasha Lyonne. I thought it was going to be interesting if she had a prolonged presence in the movie to see, can she act without swearing? Because I've watched Natasha Lyonne in a lot of things, and she's usually quite liberal about some of the language, which could offend the youngins and some of the parents in the crowd as well. But I thought she did well. She's in a supporting role. And there wasn't really a lot in the way of like Easter eggs that I saw towards other Marvel properties. You could tell this was Earth from another universe. And it was kind of fun. It's set in the 60s, but it's a futuristic 60s. It's the kind of futuristic 60s you would have seen in a movie set in the 60s. That, this is how the future is going to look. And so I thought it was great. I did. I don't have a whole lot else to add. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to mention. No, there isn't. And there is a hint along the lines of Doctor Doom at one point. Robert Downey Jr., just before anybody asks, he's not appearing in the movie. He's not in the movie, and I think they're saving that for Avengers. And then Robert Downey Jr. is Doctor Doom. So, That should be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to that. But the summer of great movies continues. And for anybody who's going to be like, oh, he can't criticize, why isn't he critical? And he needs to be more critically minded. I go to movies to be entertained. This movie to me was entertaining. I didn't see any glaring potholes with the movie. I thought it was well put together. I thought the action scenes were well thought out. I thought the strength of the characters was right about in line with where it should have been. And I finally thought Galactus was done some justice here. Galactus, it is Marvel. Galactus could show up in a movie at another time. The Silver Surfer could show up in a movie at another time as well. But because it's Marvel, it's just left kind of open-ended. And I don't mind that either. I don't mind that at all. I do feel like they might need to have Galactus in there again, because it does feel like there's more to Galactus than just what we saw in this. But that's the comic book nerd in me, just thinking along the lines of how many times he's been in the comics and all that fun stuff. So, it was done well, was done right. The Fantastic Car was done right. There are a couple of comedic moments, but it is not as funny as I thought it would be. I thought there was going to be a lot more along the lines of the funny stuff. And Sue Storm doesn't have to take her clothes off to turn invisible. So I thought that was a nice touch. I thought that was better than in the other Fantastic Four movies, where Sue would have to undress to turn invisible. And it's just like, nah. That's so in this one that doesn't happen, and I thought that was really well thought out as well. And space travel through wormholes, who would have thunk it? And that was well done too. Overall, the only issue I had was, and this is not a spoiler, there is a part of the movie where there should have been severe time dilation. I had expected that they would come back and find Earth had, 40 years had passed, and it didn't happen. So I kind of had that moment of, so there's no science here, but that's okay. That's all right. I know they did mention it. I know this and this, and I thought, yeah. So my brain, I was going, no, I don't. I think that'd be a long time that you'd have that time dilation. But that's the science nerd. So sometimes you have to separate the comic book geek and the science nerd and just keep them apart, because if they come together, they just argue with each other in your head, and you can't enjoy what you're watching on TV. So I try to, and in this case, at the movie theater. So sometimes I try to turn off the science brain a little bit. Just like, okay, science. No, I know. Don't you worry. There's some dopamine coming or something soon. So don't worry about it. But, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the movie if you saw it. Try to avoid spoilers. But, hey, thank you guys so much for all your support as always. And I'll probably find another use for this Fantastic Four jersey at some point in time. But, again, it's from Geeky Jerseys. And I'm really glad I got it, because it's Fantastic Four. It is honestly my favorite group of superheroes ever. I was very happy the whole movie. I kept saying, that's right. That's how that should look. That's how that should feel. Right. This is fantastic. While I appreciated the other movies, like I said, the ones with Jessica Alba and that whole cast, not the reboot in 2015. The less said about that, the better. There's a reason I'm not bringing that up. That movie was depressing, dour, awfully just so dark. And Fantastic Four is never meant to be dark. So when I was watching this one, I was like, this is it. This is how it's supposed to look. But let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.